They think I'm just the boring, pragmatic daughter, the emotionless ATM, the one who shows up, writes checks, and disappears back into her spreadsheets without complaint. They forget that I'm a forensic accountant who specializes in investigating the most sophisticated financial fraud schemes in the country. I've dismantled Ponzi operations that fooled federal regulators, tracing millions through labyrinths of offshore accounts and shell companies. I've exposed embezzlers who hid behind layers of encrypted transactions, bringing down empires built on deceit. And right now, I'm standing in the middle of my parents' living room, holding a cardboard box taped together so haphazardly that one corner is already splitting open. Inside is a blender, not just any blender, but the exact same high-end Vitamix I gifted my mother 4 years ago as a thoughtful housewarming present when they downsized to their cozy suburban home. Except now it's filthy, the power cord crusted with what looks like dried coffee stains and grime from years of neglect. The plastic pitcher is cloudy and scratched, etched with the scars of careless use. Someone has stuffed a Starbucks gift card inside, and when I pull it out to check the balance online, using my phone's app for instant verification, it mocks me with a pitiful $15. Meanwhile, 10 feet away, my 29-year-old sister Fallon is literally screaming with joy, that high-pitched squeal that could shatter glass and set off car alarms. She's jumping up and down in her overpriced Lululemon athleisure outfit, waving a document above her head like she's just won the Powerball jackpot. That document is a quitclaim deed to the historic carriage house, the one made of original red brick, with gleaming oak hardwood floors and those beautiful arched windows that let in streams of golden sunlight. It's nestled in the most expensive historic district in our city, surrounded by multi-million-dollar estates, boutique art galleries, and trendy cafes where influencers like her sip overpriced lattes. This carriage house was left to the family trust by our grandparents, free and clear, no mortgage, no liens, completely paid off. According to recent Zillow estimates and local real estate data from sites like Redfin, properties in that district have appreciated wildly, with the carriage house currently valued at around $450,000 thanks to its preserved 1892 architecture and prime location. And my parents just signed it over to her right now in front of 50 guests at their 35th wedding anniversary party, the party I paid for out of my own pocket. "I'm going to turn it into my yoga sanctuary," Fallon shrieks, clutching the deed to her chest like a sacred talisman. A healing space, can you imagine? I'll have crystal grids in every corner, a sound bath area with Tibetan singing bowls, and oh my goodness, I can already see the Instagram aesthetic, ethereal vibes, soft lighting, and viral reels that could finally boost my follower count to influencer status. My mother, Marcella, turns to me with that smile, the one that looks warm and maternal to outsiders, but feels like a serrated knife twisting between my ribs when aimed at me. She's wearing the pearl necklace I gave her last Christmas, the one from Tiffany's that set me back $2,000 after she casually mentioned admiring it during a shopping trip. "Scarlet, sweetheart," she says, her voice dripping with condescension masked as affection. "You're so practical. You don't need these artistic, soulful things. That blender still works fine. I tested it just last week, blending up some kale smoothies for Fallon." I stare at the crusted power cord in my hands. She didn't even bother to clean it, as if wiping away the dirt would be too much effort for someone like me. My father, Royce, adjusts his tie. The silk Hermes tie I gave him for Father's Day, sourced from their Paris collection, and nods sagely as if he's dispensing ancient wisdom from a mountaintop. "You make plenty of money, Scarlett. You can buy whatever you want. Your sister is sensitive. She needs asset security, stability, you understand?" "Oh, I understand perfectly. I understand that I just spent $3,000 of my hard-earned salary to throw this anniversary party. I hired the jazz quartet currently packing up their instruments in the corner. Their smooth renditions of classics like Fly Me to the Moon still echoing faintly. Confused by the sudden tension in the room, I ordered the catering from that upscale French bistro my mother loves, the one with the 40 per person minimum, featuring exquisite beef bourguignon and artisanal cheeses. I arranged the floral centerpieces, elegant arrangements of roses and lilies from a local florist with rave reviews on Yelp, booked the venue at this historic inn with its chandelier-lit ballroom, sent out the invitations via Evite to ensure RSVPs, and coordinated with my parents' friends to make sure they all showed up to celebrate this milestone. And my real gift, not this humiliation, was an envelope with a check for $5,000 toward the European river cruise they've been dreaming about for years. Perhaps a Viking cruise along the Rhine with stops in Amsterdam and Basel as advertised on travel sites like TripAdvisor. That envelope is currently sitting unopened on the gift table, probably buried under casserole dishes from well-meaning guests and half-empty wine bottles. But let me back up. Let me tell you exactly how we got here, because this moment, this perfect storm of disrespect and favoritism, didn't erupt out of thin air. This has been building my entire life, layer by layer, like interest compounding on a bad loan. 2 hours earlier, everything seemed fine, or as fine as things ever are in the Kingsley family. I arrived early to ensure the setup was flawless, double-checking the table linens and sound system. Sterling, my fiancé, came with me, carrying the gift bag with the cruise check and a leather-bound photo album I'd spent weeks assembling. It featured digitized scans of my parents' wedding photos from 1990, old family vacations to places like Yellowstone National Park, and candid shots of their life together, sentimental and expensive, just the way Mom likes her gifts, with custom embossing from a service like Shutterfly. "You sure about all this?" Sterling asked as we walked in, his hand warm on the small of my back. He's a corporate lawyer, 6'2", with dark blonde hair and the kind of steady presence that makes you feel anchored in a storm. He's also the only person in my life who's ever questioned whether I should keep pouring myself into this family dynamic, pointing out patterns of narcissism and favoritism that psychology blogs like Psychology Today often describe in articles about toxic families. "It's their 35th anniversary," I said, smoothing down my navy dress, a tailored piece from Nordstrom that hugged my figure just right. "I want to do this right." He kissed my temple. "You always do." The party started beautifully. The jazz quartet played Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald, their melodies floating through the air like a soundtrack to a Hallmark movie. The food was exceptional. Guests kept complimenting the beef crostini and herb-crusted salmon, raving about how it rivaled Michelin star experiences. My parents held court in the center of the room, accepting congratulations and well wishes, looking exactly like the picture-perfect couple they've always presented to the world. Polished smiles, coordinated outfits, the epitome of upper-middle-class success. Fallon showed up 40 minutes late, of course, making an entrance in a flowing white dress that probably cost more than my monthly car payment, sourced from trendy brands like Free People. She's always had that gift, the ability to walk into a room and make it revolve around her, like a social media starlet with her effortless beauty, long dark hair, high cheekbones that photograph well under golden hour filters, which is good because photographing herself is essentially her full-time job, or it was supposed to be. Her influencer career never quite took off. Last I'd heard from her sporadic posts, she had maybe 8,000 followers, many likely bots bought from shady services advertised on forums like Reddit's Our Social Media. But that doesn't stop her from treating every moment like content for her non-existent brand, complete with hashtags like Chunk Spiritual Journey and au revoir manifesting abundance. She air-kissed me, not even touching my cheeks, just making the sound near my face, and immediately started circulating, phone in hand, taking selfies with the floral arrangements I'd ordered, probably editing them with apps like VS Go for that perfect aesthetic. I should have known something was wrong when Dad clinked his glass halfway through dinner. "Can I have everyone's attention?" he called out, standing up with that broad smile he uses when he's about to make an announcement. Mom stood beside him, her hand on his arm, both of them glowing with whatever secret they were about to reveal. My stomach tightened, but I told myself it was nothing. Maybe they were renewing their vows or announcing the cruise I just funded. Maybe. Marcella and I have been thinking a lot about legacy lately, Dad said, his voice carrying that practiced, authoritative tone. He's always been good at commanding a room. It's what made him successful in commercial real estate before he retired, negotiating deals that turned vacant lots into thriving shopping centers, as per his old LinkedIn profile. About what we want to leave behind for our girls, and we've decided not to wait until we're gone. We want to see our daughters enjoy their inheritance now while we're still here to share in the joy. Oh no. Fallon, sweetheart, come up here. My sister practically floated to the front, all glowing skin and excited energy. I watched from my seat, Sterling's hand finding mine under the table, squeezing gently. Dad pulled out the deed. The actual legal quitclaim deed, notarized and everything. He must have had it prepared weeks ago, maybe months, consulting a lawyer to ensure it was ironclad under state property laws. Your grandmother's carriage house, he announced, is now yours, free and clear. We know you've been searching for your purpose, your calling. Your mother and I believe that you need a space that's truly yours, where you can build something meaningful. A healing studio, a yoga sanctuary, whatever speaks to your soul. The room erupted in applause. People were congratulating Fallon, who was crying pretty tears that somehow didn't ruin her mascara. Perfectly timed for photos. Mom was beaming. Dad looked proud enough to burst. And I was doing the math, $450,000. That's what the carriage house is worth, based on comparable sales data from real estate websites like Realtor.com, factoring in its unique features: exposed brick, original timber beams, those tall arched windows with wavy antique glass. Fallon, who has never held a job for more than 6 months, bouncing from barista gigs to failed Etsy shops selling handmade crystals. Fallon, who still asks Mom to make her doctor's appointments, who literally called me last year to ask how to file taxes using TurboTax. They just gave her a $500,000 asset. Scarlett, honey, come here, Mom called, and I stood up on legs that felt numb, walking to the front like a prisoner approaching the gallows. That's when she bent down and pulled out the cardboard box from under the gift table. I recognized it immediately, the shape, the size, the way the tape was yellowing at the edges. My hands opened it automatically, even though some part of my brain was screaming at me to stop, to run, to refuse whatever humiliation was coming. The blender sat there, grimy and pathetic, with that $15 Starbucks card stuck to the pitcher with what looked like dried honey. I thought you could use this, Mom said brightly, like she was giving me something precious. You're always so busy with work. This will help with those breakfast smoothies you're always talking about, and the gift card is for your coffee. I know how much you love your lattes. The room went quiet. I could feel 50 pairs of eyes on me, watching, waiting to see how I'd react. Dad leaned in, his voice lower now, but still audible to the front tables. You make plenty of money, Scarlett. You can buy whatever you want. Your sister is sensitive. She needs asset security. You're strong. You don't need things like this to feel valued. Strong. That's always been the word, hasn't it? Strong, independent, practical, self-sufficient. Translation, you don't need love, attention, or fairness because you're too busy being useful. I looked at Fallon, still clutching her deed, still crying her pretty tears. I looked at my parents, so pleased with themselves, so certain they'd done the right thing, and something inside me, something that had been bending and bending for 33 years, finally snapped. Not broke, snapped. There's a difference. When something breaks, it's weak, destroyed, unusable. When something snaps, it becomes a weapon. I set the box down on the gift table with exaggerated care. Then I pulled out my phone, right there in front of everyone, and called the catering company. "Hi, this is Scarlett Kingsley," I said, my voice perfectly calm, laced with the steel I've honed from testifying in fraud trials. "I need to cancel the payment authorization for tonight's event. Yes, I know the party is happening right now. I'm revoking my credit card authorization immediately." Mom's face went white. Scarlett, what are you... I held up one finger and continued with the venue coordinator. Same thing. I'm canceling my payment. The party hosts will need to settle the bill themselves. Thank you. The jazz quartet stopped playing mid-song. I picked up the dirty blender, held it up so everyone could see the crusted cord, the grimy pitcher, and enunciated each word with crystalline clarity. I think you two will need this to pulverize your hopes of me funding your retirement." Then I walked out. Sterling grabbed our coats and followed without a word. By the time we reached my Audi Q5 in the parking lot, I could hear the chaos erupting inside. Raised voices, mom's protests, the venue coordinator demanding payment, not my problem anymore. Like, "You okay?" Sterling asked as I started the engine, my hands perfectly steady on the wheel. "I'm free," I said, and I meant it. That was the moment right there in that parking lot with the sounds of my parents' anniversary party collapsing behind me that I stopped being their ATM. But that was just the beginning, because they don't know that I'm not just a boring number cruncher. In my line of work, we have a saying, the math doesn't have emotions, and neither does the audit. I've spent 10 years tracing hidden assets for the FBI and dismantling corporate frauds, using tools like forensic software from ACL Analytics to uncover digital trails. I don't need to scream or fight or beg for respect. I just need to open the books. And their books are wide open. 18 months of blessed silence have passed since I walked out of that anniversary party. 18 months of not speaking to my parents or my sister. No calls, no texts, no awkward family dinners where I smile and pretend everything is fine while being treated like a convenient bank account with legs. 18 months of building my life exactly the way I want it, free from the emotional drain of their constant demands. Sterling and I bought a penthouse downtown, 2,000 square feet of floor-to-ceiling windows and sleek, modern design, with a panoramic view of the city skyline that makes every morning feel like a triumph. We furnished it ourselves, choosing every piece together, minimalist sofas from West Elm, abstract art from local galleries, no hand-me-downs, no guilt-laden family heirlooms that come with invisible strings attached, just clean lines, comfortable spaces, and a home that belongs entirely to us, inspired by interior design trends from sites like Architectural Digest, where open concept living emphasizes serenity and success. My career has flourished beyond expectations. I made senior director at my firm 6 months ago, leading the most complex fraud investigations in the region, using advanced tools like data analytics software from Tableau to visualize money trails. My income has increased by 40%, allowing us to splurge on weekend getaways to places like Napa Valley, as recommended in travel forums on TripAdvisor. I've been featured in 2 industry publications, Forensic Accounting Today and Fraud Magazine, for my work dismantling a healthcare billing scheme that had evaded detection for 7 years, involving falsified Medicare claims worth millions. The articles praise my meticulous approach, quoting experts on how such exposés strengthen financial regulations. I am thriving, not just surviving, but I'd be lying if I said I never thought about them. Not because I miss them, absolutely not, because I'm a forensic accountant, and once you train your brain to spot patterns, you can't turn it off. It becomes a reflex, like breathing or checking stock market fluctuations on apps like Bloomberg. So when I occasionally checked public records, property tax filings, business registrations, municipal violations, I told myself it was just professional habit, due diligence, keeping my skills sharp on databases like county assessor websites. That's how I found the gold mine. It started innocently enough. I was having coffee one Saturday morning, Sterling still asleep in our king-size bed with Egyptian cotton sheets, and I pulled up the county property database on my laptop. Just curious, I told myself, just wondering what Fallon had actually done with that $450,000 gift. The answer? Absolutely nothing productive. According to her Instagram, which I occasionally checked through a fake account because I'm petty but not stupid, she'd posted exactly 3 photos inside the carriage house in the first month after the party. All carefully staged shots of her doing yoga poses in empty rooms, captioned with nonsense about finding her inner goddess and creating sacred space, complete with filters that scream desperation for likes. Then the post stopped. Instead, her feed filled up with party pictures, string lights hung haphazardly across the original timber beams, someone's boyfriend doing a keg stand in the kitchen, videos of Fallon and 3 friends dancing on the porch at 2 a.m., disturbing every neighbor on that quiet, expensive street lined with Victorian mansions. But the Instagram feed was just entertainment, a window into her chaos. The real discovery came from the city database. You see, the historic district isn't just fancy nomenclature, it comes with actual legal requirements, strict ones enforced by preservation boards as outlined in municipal codes available on government sites like the National Register of Historic Places. When you own property there, you're not just a homeowner, you're a custodian of architectural history. Rules govern exterior maintenance, paint colors, only period-appropriate shades like colonial red or federal blue, landscaping, even grass height to prevent eyesores that devalue the neighborhood. I pulled up the property record for the carriage house address and felt my pulse quicken as line after line of violation notices loaded on my screen. Violation Azure Q 847HG. Failure to maintain landscaping to code standards. Front lawn grass exceeds 8 inches in height. Fine $500 per day until corrected. Violation or 3HG. Exterior wooden window frames showing visible rot and peeling paint. Failure to restore using historically approved colors per section 4.7 of guidelines. Fine $500 per day. Violation or 2 HG. Removal of original storm shutters without permits. Fine $1,000 per day until restored. I sat back in my chair, coffee forgotten, and did the math. $500 per day for 240 days on grass, $500 per day for 180 days on windows, $1,000 per day for 120 days on shutters, plus $18,000 in unpaid property taxes based on county assessor rates. Add accruing interest at 1.5% monthly and administrative fees, and we were looking at roughly $350,000 in municipal liens on a property worth $450,000. I pulled up the violation notices themselves. They'd all been mailed certified to the carriage house, everyone tracked via USPS records, delivered but never signed for. Fallon didn't even know she was being fined, or more likely she'd seen the official envelopes and ignored them, the way she ignores anything requiring adult responsibility, like budgeting apps or credit score checks on Credit Karma. The city had placed a priority lien 4 weeks ago, sitting above all other claims, meaning the city gets paid first in any sale or foreclosure, as per real estate law explained on sites like nolo.com. I sat there in my beautiful penthouse, sunlight streaming through the windows, and smiled because here's what Fallon and my parents don't understand about the world. Debt doesn't disappear because you ignore it. It grows, compounds, becomes something alive and hungry, like compound interest calculators demonstrate on financial education platforms. The city doesn't care about your feelings, your potential, or your healing journey. It wants its money backed by statutes that empower liens over emotions. I spent the next 2 weeks researching municipal lien purchases, a niche but legal practice where investors buy defaulted debts from cities to recover funds immediately, as detailed in investment guides on BiggerPockets forms. It's powerful. Once you own the lien, you can foreclose, force sales, negotiate settlements, make someone's life very difficult. I formed the LLC on a Tuesday, MARS Capital LLC, standing for Municipal Asset Recovery Services, registered in Delaware for privacy, with a local agent address untraceable to me. It sounded boring, bureaucratic, completely official, perfect camouflage. On Monday, I called the city's revenue department. I'm interested in purchasing the municipal liens on a property in the historic district, I said. All business, no emotion. What's the process? 3 days later, after paperwork and a wire transfer of $348,750, every penny of accumulated fines, penalties, interest, and taxes, I owned the debt. All of it. The city was thrilled. They got cash immediately instead of years in court. And I got leverage. Complete, total, crushing leverage. The carriage house my sister had been given, the asset supposed to provide her security, was now effectively mine. She just didn't know it yet. I told Sterling that night, showing him the documentation over dinner at our marble dining table. He studied the papers, his lawyer brain processing implications like a chess grandmaster. Then he looked up with awe. You bought your sister's debt. I bought the city's debt, I corrected. My sister just happens to owe it. She's gonna lose the house. Only if she can't pay me back $348,750 plus interest, I'm legally entitled to charge as lien holder up to 12% annually under state usury laws. Sterling laughed, shaking his head. They really have no idea what they did, giving a $500,000 asset to someone who can't even pay property taxes. No, I agreed, refilling my wine glass with a crisp Sauvignon Blanc. They have no idea. But I wasn't ready to move yet. This wasn't hot revenge, it was strategic consequence, teaching a lesson that sticks, like case studies in behavioral economics on delayed gratification. So I waited, watching the carriage house deteriorate further through public records and occasional drive-bys. The grass grew taller, window frames worsened. Fallon kept posting from expensive brunches and trips, funded by enablers, probably my parents, echoing patterns of financial dependency warned about in psychology articles on enabling behavior. I watched, I waited, I let the trap sit perfectly constructed, knowing with 33 years certainty that they'd need me again. They always do. And when they came calling, hands extended, expectations enormous, I'd be ready, not with a checkbook, but consequences. The call breaking the silence came Wednesday evening. Sterling and I were cooking dinner, he handling pasta al dente, me prepping a fresh arugula salad, when my phone buzzed. Aunt Ramona, she's Dad's younger sister, the only family member acknowledging my parents' favoritism is wrong, often referencing family therapy resources from BetterHelp. She's called sporadically to check in, remind me I'm not crazy. I answered on speaker. Hey, Aunt Ramona. Scarlett, honey. Her voice tight with stress. I'm at City Hospital. Your father is in the ER. My hand froze. Sterling looked up sharply. What happened? Your mother says it's a heart attack, brought in 40 minutes ago. She's not handling it well. She asked me to call you. Of course, Mom would never call directly. That admits need. Is he stable? My accountant brain organizing into facts. Doctors running tests. Scarlett, I think you should come. Whatever happened, if something happens to him, I'll be there in 20. I ended the call. Sterling turned off the stove. I'm driving. You don't have to. He took my face in his hands, gray eyes serious. I'm driving. You're shaking. I looked, hands trembling, not from fear, something else. The drive should have been 17 minutes. Sterling made 14, navigating traffic with calm competence that reminds me why I'm marrying him. But I wasn't focused on traffic. I was on the trembling, triggering a memory. You know what I'm thinking about, I said, staring at city lights. Tell me. 3 years ago, August 14th, 2:30 a.m., voice flat like a case file, acute appendicitis, pain so intense I couldn't stand, on the bathroom floor, trying not to vomit, called Mom. Sterling's hand tightened. Told her my appendix was rupturing, needed ER help. She said she couldn't leave. Fallon broke up with a 3-week boyfriend, threatening to cut her hair. Crisis. Words faster now. Told me call Uber. I'm strong, capable. So I did. Marcus drove me, trash bag and lap for vomit. Admitted myself, signed surgical consents alone, as surgeon said close to rupture. Surgery alone? Woke alone? Sterling pulled over, hazards on. Next morning, hospital room, IV arm, checked Instagram, idiot move. Mom posted at 3 a.m. Her and Fallon eating pizza, pajamas, movie. Caption, heartbreak healing sleepover with hearts. Unbelievable, Sterling breathed. Posted pizza while I was in surgery. He pulled me close. I wasn't crying, past grief, hope. That's why shaking. Not afraid Dad dying, but 3 years ago I nearly did. They chose haircut over me. Now Dad's panic attack. Probably financial stress, not real heart attack. I'm supposed to run. Sterling pulled back. You don't have to go. Yes, I do. I smiled coldly. They're about to learn stress isn't random. I want to see faces when realizing who's holding the knife. He studied me, then kissed my forehead. Then, let's teach consequences. That's why I'm marrying him. We walked into the hospital, Sterling's hand steady on my back. Antiseptic smell, fluorescent lights washing everything surreal. VIP waiting room, 3rd floor, of course, no common areas for them. Elevator ride eternal, yet instant. Doors opened, Mom's voice. She won't answer. Called 6 times. After everything. Raised, fed, educated. Aunt Ramona. Marcella, maybe because you haven't spoken in 18 months except... There she is. Mom rushed, hair disheveled, mascara smudged, wearing my cashmere cardigan from 2 Christmases ago. Reached to hug. I stepped aside, Sterling blocking subtly. How's Dad? Professional neutral. Oh, now you care. Grief to anger. Show up after abandoning, humiliating at party. Marcella, Dad's voice from doorway, pale but steady. Enough. Not heart attack, panic, as suspected. I walked past Mom. Doctor say? He looked embarrassed. Panic attack, stress-induced, observation overnight, but fine. Good, I'll go. Wait. Need to talk about Fallon House. There it was, real reason. Aunt Ramona shrugged apologetically. Bait. 5 minutes private. Dad nodded to consultation room. Sterling started following. I squeezed his hand. Wait. Fine. Sure? Sure. This was watching them walk into my trap. Wanted clarity. Followed Dad. Mom rushed in. Small room, clinical, chairs, couch, pamphlets. Dad sat heavily. Mom perched, hands twisting. I stood. Crisis? Silence stretched. I let it. Interrogation tactic. People fill voids. Confess. Mom broke. House. Fallon's. Losing it. Eyebrow raised. Unfortunate. Unfortunate? Head snapped. Sister lose everything over technicality, city fines, and that's all? What want me say? Help. Despite differences, right thing for family, foreclose. Company Mars Capital bought debt. Letter, 30 days pay or take house. Thrill. Not guilt. Satisfaction. They'd got my letter. How much? Neutral. Dad cleared throat. Approximately $348,000 with fines, taxes, interest. Devastating, Mom teared. Real, not pretty. Tried pay, no liquid cash, sell house, too old start over. Fallon, no, struggling path. Partying, corrected. Instagram posts. Mouth tightened. Young, figuring. Doesn't deserve lose home over grass paint. Insane city charge. City not charging. Mars's bought debt. Legal right, foreclose. No, Dad snapped, authority creeping. Need you pay. Words like grenade. Excuse. Mom forward. No issues. Hurt by anniversary, but see past. Family. Sister's future. You have money. Twice Dad at age. Few $100,000, nothing. $348,750 plus accrual, not few. Dad stood. Patriarchal. Kingsley, take care family. Grandfather ashamed letting sister lose house he built. Guilt card, honor, dead grandfather who liked me. Felt nothing. Grandfather's house you gave Fallon without asking to 29-year-old, no job, no income, no maintenance. Apologize for blender. Mom lied. Never had. Have you? Acknowledging now, snapped. Want grovel? Beg. Fine. Beg. Help sister. Young. Foolish. Not homeless. Won't be. Doesn't live there. Face flushed. Point. Want me fix consequences, your decisions. Again. Gave asset, incompetent. Now do? Want me swoop? Disappear. Sister. Dad hard. Family helps. Family, last time helped me. Surgery alone. Down payment denied funding Fallon's 6-week photography. Graduation missed yoga retreat. Never needed. Mom resentful. Easy for you. School, work, money. Never struggled like Fallon. Coddled, enabled, given everything, taught nothing, right? Don't know. This nowhere, Dad. Bottom, help or not? Moment. Tense, waiting, expected, yes, check or no walk. Cold narrative. Not option 3. Silence uncomfortable, then. Sterling? Briefcase? Confused looks. Hope on Mom. Thought checkbook. Sterling appeared. Leather briefcase. Court 1. Neutral. Thank. Squeeze. He left door open. Aunt Ramona curious. Set on table. Open slow. Want help? Think right check. $348,750 plus interest. Save Fallon negligence. Yes. Mom breathed. But don't understand. 18 months learned damage, irresponsibility, watched house deteriorate. Fallon not bother grass, frames, laid document, violations printout, inspector photos, overgrown yard, rotting frames, missing shutters. Dad pale. Watched treat $450,000 like party venue. More Instagram printouts, beer cans porch, friends beams. Where? Mom whispered. White public. Preservation board fascinated. Next, tax records, notices, fines. Fallon 17 letters, 17 warnings, chances, ignored. Didn't know. Didn't care, difference, bill due. Final Mars purchase agreement, proof someone bought debt 3 months ago, all $348,750. Dad reached, scanned, stopped. What? Mom, but found registration agent Sterling. You, whispered, fear in eyes, bought debt. Mars. Mom's expressions, confusion, realization, horror, rage. Foreclosing own sister, shrill. Not if pays. Needs $348,750 plus 12% interest, $40,000 year loan. Insane, Mom. Destroying sister's spite blender, instead house $450,000. Smiled. Not blender. Moment realized who you are. Consequences for negligence, entitlement. Take house? Dad flat. Don't want Fallon pay like adult. Can't. Then loses. How bills work. Mom wounded sound. Evil ungrateful. Actually offer. Pulled settlement. Sterling prepared. Legal letterhead. Forgive debt entirely. Fallon keeps. Transfer release executed. Hope blazed. Conditions. What? Dad weary. Held terms. First, pay $80,000 borrowed over years. Loans never repaid. Records due 90 days. Mom mouth open. Second, sell primary residence. Proceeds pay $80,000 plus your debts. Underwater credit. Behind taxes. Remaining. Affordable rental. Modest. Can't serious, Dad. Extremely. Gave $450,000 incompetent while me fund retirement. Consequences, downsize pay, live means. Refuse? Mom venom shrugged. Foreclose 30 days, take, sell auction, net $400,000. Still owe $80,000 court. Daughter homeless, unemployable, choice. Dad reading. Requires Fallon job 60 days, documented pay stubs. Yes, support self. Never agree. Never keep house. Placed agreement pen. 48 hours, sign, execute, move forward, refuse, foreclosure, Sterling hallway legal questions. Picked purse, turned. Scarlet, Dad strange, not angry. When cold? Looked back, sterile room, failures, not cold, done warm for people burn me heat then build fire. Walked out, Sterling waiting, hand mine. How? Trap sprung. Wait, see smart, take exit. 8 hours passed in silence. Deadline, hospital cafeteria, neutral. Dad discharged, waiting prescriptions. They at table, Fallon too, sunglasses, bored, scrolling, not defeated, confident. Dad folder, not mine, new. Glad came, gestured chairs, stood. Signed. Agreement, corrected. Counter, terms draconian. Pay $80,000 5 years, not sell home, non-negotiable. Mom arms crossed. Parents, not tenants, can't order sell. Foreclose, lawyer friend, tie probate years, family dispute, judges hate, spend more fees than debt. Stared smug, thought bluff called, looked Sterling, eyes dancing. Something discussed before civil. Pulled manila folder, placed gently over counter. Remember, quit claim deed signed. Mom frowned. Oh, what? Refresh. Line 37. Value $25,000. Avoid gift tax. Dad dismissive. Standard, everyone. Everyone fraud? Head tilt. Interesting defense. Not fraud. Scoffed. Creative accounting. IRS disagrees. Problem. Not $25,000. Appraisal 3 months. Certified independent $450,000. Number hung. $425,000 gap. Major fraud. IRC section 7201. Evade tax. Up 5 years prison. $250,000 fine per. Smugness gone. Fallon looked up. You wouldn't. Threatened tie. Court years. Thought civil debt. Not criminal. Sterling forward. Reality. Foreclose. Deed public. IRS monitors discrepancies, audit find, prosecute. However, continued sign, unaltered settlement, release lien, no foreclosure, no filing, deed internal, slid original over counter, choices A, counter, foreclose, explain judge, $425,000 lie, B, sign now, sell, pay, Fallon job. Dad looked older, realized negotiating auditor, not daughter. Really send jail? Really rob me fund her? Pointed Fallon. Sign. Picked pen, handshaking, signed. Pushed Mom, she crying signed. Monster, Fallon hissed. Blackmail. No, audit. Checked signatures, 90 days list house. Fallon resume, Starbucks hiring. Turned, walked out, Sterling beside. Went well? Calculated. Felt finished. 2 months, crawled like reverse years. Tracked. Realtor listing week 1, open houses 3, offers 5, accepted cash 7, $10,000 below, desperate. Closing Tuesday 10:47 a.m. Buzz, wire $80,000, stared, decade given, returned, should victory, felt chapter end, but book not, dialed Sterling. Done, paid. Congratulations, feel? One more. Hung, called foreclosure company, hired 6 weeks. Kingsley Heritage Lane, proceed eviction, today. Fallon, 0 days surprise. 2 months maintenance, job, prove, did nothing. Unhinged rants, toxic family, karma. Karma arrived, sheriff uniform, drove carriage house last time, Sterling next, parked across, sheriff's vehicle moving truck, arranged, door opened, Fallon heard before seen, can't, my house, sanctuary, sheriff, patient 50s woman held notice, legal foreclosure, 10 minutes personal items, else stays, no, call sister, stepped out, walked slow, eyes locked, betrayal rage, you, evil witch, lunged, sheriff blocked, paid everything, money passed, house pays laziness. What? Needed time brand, new. 18 months, job, minimum wage cover fees, didn't, parties, pictures, lived my house. Mine, gave. Tried, not owned clear. City priority, bought debt, I priority. Evicted mine. Sheriff gestured. Time up. Not over. Sue, ruin tell. Police. 73 followers devastated. Lunged. Deputies escorted to taxi. Arranged. Not heartless. Mom-dad problem in tiny rental. Smile. Taxi away. Fallon screaming window. Turned sheriff. Thanks, professionalism. Job. Keys. Yours. Climbed steps. Pushed door. House is remembered. Not brick strong. Floors gleamed scuffed. Empty. Echoed walks. Living room influencer gatherings, kitchen no meals, yoga room ex-library, stopped center set box, blender, kept storage, same dirty, placed oak floor center plugged, cord reached inch, turned high, sound tore, scream, laugh, reckoning, echoed brick, hardwood, filled corners, beautiful, stood, watched, vibrate, destroy sanctity, turned, walked out, closed, blender screaming, Sterling by car, arms crossed, proud, feel? One more. Phone, email, tipsairs.gov, Scarlet. Careful. Don't have. Do. Typed professional ethics, $450,000 versus $25,000. Not error. Fraud. Paused. Settlement released lien. Not sue $80,000. Never promised hide felony. Assumed silence price. Forgot auditor report discrepancies. Attached deed appraisal records. Provable IRS salivate. Subject. Anonymous tip. Valuation fraud. Writing report discrepancy. Sterling side. Understood. Principal. Hit send. Email void. Last connection Royce Marcella. Government deal now. Done. Pulled sold. Sign trunk. Realtor requested. Architect bought $20,000 above. Thrilled. Plans restore glory. Hung gate. Centered. Visible. Car. Sterling passenger. Where? Started. Looked house last. Behind walls. Blender roaring. Given. Taken. Never understood. Capable. Home. Drove away past, toxic, roar behind forever.